Hello everybody, we're going to start the Vietnam conflict, which is a long time. It's a 10-year-long war. It basically was fought for the exact same reasons as the Korean War. There's a lot of similarities. Now, in both wars you have a northern, well, it's an Asian peninsula for both wars, okay? The other thing is the northern part is communist, the southern part is capitalist, and the communists are trying to take over the capitalists. Therefore, our Truman Doctrine and containment kicks in, and we have to go help. So what had happened was during World War II, well, before World War II, all of this, which is called French Indochina at the time, was owned by the French. Okay, that's why they called it that. But when Hitler takes over Paris and takes over France, basically there's a civil war here and a revolution. And the French can't do anything about it because they're taken over by Hitler for like 3 or 4 years, okay? So when the war is over, they want their country back. They want their imperial possession back. So they try to go back, and there's a big battle with, it's actually in Laos right here. So it's called the Battle of Dien Bien Phu, okay? And what ended up happening is this guy right here, his name is Ho Chi Minh. He is a communist, and he wants to be in charge. Well, he actually took a bunch of his men, and they went 100 miles through the jungle with cannons and other things like that, and they defeated the French, which was a more modern army, because they surprised them by going through the jungle like that. So the French are gone, they're kicked out now, and there's a massive civil war in which basically French Indochina splits into 4 different countries. Okay, so we have Laos, Cambodia, North Vietnam, and South Vietnam. Out of these, North Vietnam is communist, and it's run by Ho Chi Minh. Okay, so let's see, after, yeah, okay, I did all that. So let's scroll down a little bit. Okay, North Vietnam was communist and supported by both China and the Soviet Union. Okay, during this time, the southern part was supported by the United States. All right, Saigon is the capital of South Vietnam, and sought aid from the United States and SATO. Okay, now we know what NATO is. NATO is the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Okay, these are the good guys in the Cold War. These are the allies, if you will. Well, the Asian countries that were also capitalists made their version of NATO, and they call it SATO. Okay, which is the Southeast Asian Treaty Organization, a much weaker version of NATO. President Eisenhower accepted something called the domino principle, which is basically summed up by this political cartoon. Okay? So the domino principle states that if the communists will make a country fall to communism, another country, then it will have a domino effect and everybody in the region will fall to communism. And the only people that will be holding it up at the end is America, and we are going to get crushed by the communists. It's kind of the same logic of why we had to go over there and fight Hitler and all that kind of stuff. If we don't fight them over there, we're going to end up fighting them on our soil, and then it's going to be bad because we will have no allies left. So, America's involvement in the Vietnam War, in which nearly 60,000 U.S. soldiers lost their lives, had its origin in an anti-communist American policy known as containment. Containment is stopping the spread of communism. Okay, I got a little hack for you on the test. Okay, y'all know what hacks are. So, if you have a Cold War era question, any Cold War era question, and containment is one of the answers, there's a 90% chance that that's a correct answer. Okay, so you can't. Now, if you have something from the Civil War or something like that, and containment is the answer, you know that's not correct, because that was 100 years before this stuff. So the U.S. military involvement in the Korean War began after President Truman bypassed Congress and initiated a police action in Korea. These actions set the precedent in later years for what? For Vietnam. Vietnam and Korea are almost the same war, okay, as far as their motivations go. What was the primary reason some Americans supported U.S. involvement in the Vietnam War? All right, let's see. Containment. Right there. They wanted to contain communism. Again, it's the same question over and over, same answer, I should say, for a bunch of different stuff. Now, the guy that we supported during the Vietnam War, he was not a good guy. Okay, Ho Chi Minh was actually a better person to deal with, but because Ho Chi Minh was a communist, we would not deal with him. We would not lower ourselves to that level. Instead, we basically became friends with a dictator. But he was a capitalist dictator. So he was our dictator. He was our friend. This guy gave no freedom to his people. You know, he would kill people that disagreed with him, send them to prison, torture them, all kinds of stuff like that. And in fact, the monks that lived inside, these are Buddhist monks that lived in Vietnam, staged a protest against him. And this is basically what they did. They poured gasoline all over themselves, lit themselves up on fire, just so that way they could draw everybody in the world's attention to how bad of a human being this leader was, that was the American puppet. This guy, he did a really good job, okay? Now, I'm not saying it's good to burn yourself alive, but what I'm saying is he actually controlled himself. He sat there very calmly until he fell over and died. This guy, not so much. Lots of screaming, you know, walking around, crying, that kind of thing. So I think this guy was probably a little bit more advanced on the meditation. So anyway, that's it for this video.